This is the SpaRetailer Podcast, where we talk retail, business, and all things related to the hot tub industry. I'm your host, Megan Kendrick, owner of SpaRetailer Magazine. Welcome back to the podcast, Alex.
Yeah, thank you. I get a second opportunity. That's great.
I know. If you're from North Dakota, I'm just going to keep having you back on over and over again. Apparently, that's the way it goes.
I like that. We got to stick together. There's not many of us.
I know. This is also very true. But yeah, we saw each other a couple weeks ago at the Western Pool and Spa Show in Long Beach, which I feel like people in our audience are probably like, what's that? But yeah, the Western Pool and Spa Show, they have it in Long Beach every year. It's definitely like a pool service show, though. Not very many hot tub people there, or any hot tub people there.
A lot of the service that we talked to all loved at ease. We were actually really surprised to hear how much our product is being used by the service market. That was just an interesting observation that we had. California is a pretty big market for us in hot tubs. A lot of people love their hot tubs there, and especially the Airbnb market and stuff. We're seeing a lot of our products being used more and more by service and specifically Airbnb type products.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, how funny that's what you ended up talking about, this pool service oriented show.
Yeah, it was my first time there, and I thought it was great just because it's a different market for us, very different than what you're going to get at Atlantic City or at the national show. It's really cool to see that we've been so focused on the service market for the last 3 years. It's definitely an opportunity that I've seen for King Technology.
Yeah, Alex has been on the podcast before, but he is the senior product manager at King Technology. We should probably say that up at the top here. And yes, and also from North Dakota, which I feel like these last couple of weeks, the weather in Oklahoma has been feeling a lot more North Dakota than normal. That's been interesting for us.
Yeah, all across the country, it's pretty funny. I was just talking with a guy from South Carolina earlier today, and he was saying it was in the 20s down there, which is crazy cold, right, for that area.
Yeah.
And we're just coming out of one of the coldest winters on record for us. It was -16 when I went to work on Tuesday morning. Actual temperature, not wind chill.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's
we're
not.
going to hit 10 today. We're pretty excited. We're going to hit 10 today, and the sun's out. It's a beautiful day to be here in Minnesota.
Yeah, by the time this is all said and done, in the last 2 weeks, my children will have gone to school for 3 days. That's been great. I just see my work to-do list, just zero progress is being made. Things just keep getting added and nothing is getting crossed off. So yeah, it's been interesting. And I think I've finally come around to because I'm from North Dakota, so I feel like I'm tough when it comes to the cold, and these people are ridiculous. And it's 20 degrees. Like, why are we all freaking out? But yeah, I think I finally come to the realization that it's just not built for it to get below 20 at all. My husband was dripping our faucets, and it's like, why are you doing that? Because the last time it got this cold, our pipes did freeze. Whereas like growing up, we never dripped our faucets. Like, why would you do that? It's because your house is built to actually retain heat. Ours is not. And so like it's freezing inside.
Yeah, that's true. And your pipes are a lot closer to the surface.
Yep, just not prepared for it to be this cold. But it's been a real pain, honestly.
What an exciting experience for your kids. Cold weather days, no school days. That doesn't happen very often for you.
Yeah, but at this point, though, they are also definitely over it. They're like, can I go back to school? Because hanging out with mom while she's working sounds fun. And then the reality of it is, oh, this is boring. And also she's making us do our homework, which also is boring when I'm not with my friends. And so it's just everybody is over it, mostly me. So yeah, I shipped them over to my parents' house today, and there's no ice on the roads. There really was no reason for them to be out of school today, but here we are. Yeah, I think they're going to go to a movie and be out of my hair for a while. So I'm here for it.
Cool. Still pretty exciting, I'm sure, for the kids. Something for them to remember.
This is true. We talked about the Western show, but I feel like we need to report on what happened at the Atlantic City show, because we shared an aisle and we got kicked out for a mysterious package, which was just the most bizarre trade show experience I think I've ever had.
Yeah, absolutely. It was pretty surreal. It definitely looked weird and stuff, but didn't really think much of it and stuff. And as they kept on expanding that perimeter, and then
Mhm.
eventually said, "You got to get out." But I'm like, "Oh, my backpack's in there." My boss's iPad. He's, "Alex, see if you can get my iPad." And I'm asking the police officer if we can go in to get the iPad and my laptop and stuff. And then I'm just thinking, like, how ridiculous is this? I'm worried about my laptop and my iPad. I'm
Right.
like, this isn't Israel. This isn't the Middle East or even Europe that's having these kinds of problems. I'm just thinking, man, is this possible?
And it was funny because I'm looking at this package that they're looking at, and I'm like, that just looks like trade show trash. Like almost every single exhibitor here has a box that looks exactly like that under their table, full of their trash or whatever for the time being. And so it's get it. I appreciate they are, cautious, but at the same time, I'm like, I promise you that's just trash. But it did make
Yeah.
for an interesting afternoon. I'm not going to name names, but there was another exhibitor on our aisle that the next day came over and was like, "Hey, Megan, so you know that package that they were investigating? I didn't know it at the time, but it was mine." Like, for some reason, someone else's stuff ended up on our pallet at one point, and it's just moved from trade show to trade show with us, and it's just trash, like, it's not even ours, and so I gave it to someone and said, "Hey, go get rid of this," and that's where they put it, and they shut down our aisle for a couple I don't know, how long were we shut down? A couple hours? An hour, maybe?
It was, yeah, a solid 45 minutes, maybe an hour and, a little over an hour. I finally, when the dogs came, I finally took that opportunity to go get my wristband for the heritage event that night and stuff. So it was a good opportunity to go get the wristband.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'm always like not wanting to leave the booth because there's so many customers. And that was unfortunate for us too, because it was probably the busiest time of the day for us. But yeah.
Yeah, that's really too bad for as far as all that goes. But was it a good show for you in Atlantic City? What were things you were hearing from your dealers as they came by?
It was a good show. We didn't feel like it was as busy as it's been the last maybe, but we just have such a fantastic dealer base and they're just so happy with our products. And so it's really, I like to come back with those kinds of stories for our marketing team specifically and just talk about how much goodwill and how much excitement there is. We had a lot of people that came by and I would ask any questions, how are you doing? And they're like, oh, we're a longtime dealer. We sell a ton of these things and put cyclers on all the pools or the Eddies and stuff. But it's super exciting to be able to say, have you seen the new products? Be able to pitch the new products to them. And also to hear that these dealers would say, oh yeah, we came back because we got the email about new products and stuff. So be able to just share that excitement with people like our digital team who spends tons of time creating emails and social campaigns and for them to be able to see what their efforts are bringing. That's just really great for us to be able to come back and give out these show reports.
Yeah. How long have you been with King now? Is it
3.5 years.
3.5 years? Okay.
Mhm.
And again, you're in product development, and you guys have developed a lot of new products in the
Mhm.
last 3.5 years. I feel every year before the year starts, I get a call and it's, "Hey, do you wanna go over our list of new things for the
Mhm.
upcoming year?" And in the last couple of years, would it have been did you guys move into the new facility before you started or after you started?
After we moved in the new facility about 2 years ago.
Okay, okay. And so I feel like that definitely has to have something to do with you, at least your ability to come out with all of these new products because you moved into this brand new, beautiful facility that I have yet to go see, but it's on my list. I will get there. But part of that included this innovation center. Can you tell me about what that is and what that looks like? And yeah, I want all the nerdy details.
The going back to our old facility, we had hot tubs on end standing up because we had no room anymore for all the new trying to bring in new hot tubs with different features and stuff. So we really had to be strategic about what hot tubs we were using. If we didn't need one, we'd switch it up and then move it back and stuff. So this facility was just so perfect for us. It has an underground garage, which we completely renovated, turned into what we call the innovation center. We're not allowed to call it the basement. It's the innovation center.
Or the parking garage. It is the
Or you
innovator.
can't park in it anymore. The loading doors are really only for the forklift to bring in new hot tubs. But we have, I want to say we have 16 active hot tubs right now. 2 swim spas, a full-size pool. We have 250-gallon tanks. I think we got 6 of those. We've got aquariums set up. So we got all kinds of different types of water. We got a cold plunge tub, the swim spas, of course. And then it's really given us the ability to expand on our capabilities. We used to have to outsource so much stuff. Now we can do things internally. And we brought in more and more expertise for that, which is so cool because that's really what has helped us really grow faster. Because now I don't have to plan out months of somebody else running 3D samples and thousands of dollars for those prototypes and stuff. Now I can provide an idea, and we have a fantastic industrial designer who he's sketching as I'm talking, and he's, what do you think of this? By the time I'm done with the conversation, I'm like, that's exactly what was in my head. And he's, I'll go down and get it, get it going on the 3D printer. We have 5 3D printers now, I think, and then a whole workshop with all kinds of tools. Everything that we do, we can mock up in-house. We have a chemistry lab, we have a biology lab, and we have, a chemistry team.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, so what is the difference between what you would do in a chemistry lab versus what you would do in a biology lab? What are those two things doing that it's different than the other?
I'm definitely a layman, definitely not.
Same. We don't need to get into the like molecular difference here.
But it has to do with levels of cleanliness and then what you're working on, bacteria versus chemistry and stuff.
So in one lab, they're growing the things that in the other lab, you're trying to figure out how to get rid of.
How to kill it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the biggest thing that our bench chemist has told me, because I had the same question, right? He says it's the level of cleanliness. There's a whole another level of protection and stuff needed, and the air quality in the biology lab versus in the chemistry lab and stuff. But everything that we do, chlorine, salt, all that kind of stuff is so corrosive. So the company invested a ton of money in coating everything. Because if you've ever been in an underground garage, everything is exposed, right? There's all these pipes. The piping for the whole building is on the ceiling of this place, right? Everything had to be coated and covered. And then it was very dingy. So we had to completely brighten all of that up. We had to run all power. Like I said, we have at least 20 different units that are using the hot tubs and the swim spas. So we had to run all of this power for each of these units to be able to run. We had to, tear up the floor and put in drainage for all this stuff. And it's a really cool, our head of engineering really was involved in designing and setting this whole thing up. And so it's such a cool facility and so easy to be able to fill a hot tub because it's like 1.5 inch piping. We can fill a hot tub so fast and we can drain it so fast because we got the in-floor
Well, and
drainage
like
and stuff. So
that's the kind of stuff that you wouldn't think about unless you've done this before, right? But it's the amount of time you lose filling and
mhm.
draining a hot tub when you're trying to run tests, I imagine can get pretty significant after a while.
Yeah, this is what we have, a team of people. This is what they do, right? So it's really awesome to see these guys can balance a hot tub, refill and balance a hot tub in 45 minutes. It's just amazing. I've learned quite a few tricks that I can use in my own backyard and stuff. So it's pretty fun. It's balancing water is no problem now.
They've taught you a thing or two.
And that's one of the other cool things. Right now, we've got almost every hot tub in use right now because we're running our Adopt a Spa program. That was something that started, I want to say 5 years ago. All new hires go through an Adopt a Spa program. They have their own spa. The engineering team fills it up and then is hands off. It's up to you to figure out how to maintain the water. They first have to start with dichlor and then they get to move over to addies. They got to do bromine to learn the different chemistries and stuff. And it teaches you so much. And I just encourage everybody that does it to go to a local dealer, have the water tested and get that experience. We don't want you to just learn about hot tub maintenance, water maintenance. We want you to learn about our consumers are seeing and what our customers, the dealers, are doing. So it's a really cool way for the company to really get immersed in the industry.
I love that. It's because it's really easy to have that disconnect, right? It's really easy to have the disconnect between the actual product use, right? And what that is actually like in real life outside of a lab or a test tube. It's really easy to get disconnected from that. And then also, like you said, from the consumer experience of trying to figure things out, being a lay person and yeah, taking your water in and like doing all of that stuff. Like that's such a great idea. I feel like everyone in our industry could probably benefit from having to do that. And I
Ooh.
love that like in learning all the different options, right? Okay, here's what
Mhm.
it's like if you're using this, and here's what it's like if you're using this. And then again, here's the difference when you use our product, but just gives you just a better way to be able to talk about all of it. Actually know what that feels like and what that looks like in practice.
Yeah, and it's not just, it's obvious that people in customer service, sales, marketing would do it, right? But we have everybody, HR, finance, the business analysts do it and stuff because it speaks to our culture. We don't want you to think of this industry or what you're doing as a widget. We want you to think about it as a hot tub or a pool and how it really relates to the end consumer.
Yeah. I love that too because it's like it does get everybody on mission, right? Because it is so easy
Mhm.
to get siloed into your own department and the own thing you're what you're looking working on specifically. And yeah, what a great way to remind everybody about what our real mission is here and what we're really trying to do and accomplish and do for people's lives. Yeah, that's a great way to do that. Like you actually make them do it.
Yeah, and people get really excited about it and they actually really get into it. And the engineers are supposed to do their best to not provide any help and stuff unless there's a danger. There are so many examples of people way over chlorinating their water and stuff.
Ah,
We're a very competitive group. Everybody has started on the same, this last group started on the same time. So there's this implied competition that I'm going to get my water balanced first. And we have some interesting water here. It always comes out with a greenish tint, right? And I remember one of my first employees, he thought he nailed it. He sees, oh, it's perfectly clear. I'm like, I said, look at some of these other hot tubs that aren't on the program, right? That are being running tests and stuff. I'm like, does yours look like this? He's no, but it's perfectly clear. I'm like, there's a difference between perfectly clear and clean water.
yeah, 100%. And that like what a great lesson because yeah, that how many times has that happened where you're like, this is great, it looks awesome, and then it's oh, never mind.
It is. It's you've probably had that experience where you go over to a friend's house and stuff and you just kind of you see their water and you're like, that's unfortunate.
Oh, it's yes, yes. I'm not sure. Have you ever been to a friend's house and opened up their hot tub cover and been like, "Yes, I'm getting in there," because I haven't.
On occasion, because everybody knows where I work, so
They're like
everybody's
extra
always
yeah.
looking for tips and stuff, and they want me to look at their water and stuff and let me know a lot of times. But more often than not, I'm like looking because I'm curious, and I'm like, man, you need to clean your filter or you're out of chlorine.
Surprise! So when you said that this was in a converted parking garage, I definitely was picturing like essentially a dungeon looking place, but it sounds like that is not the vibe in there at all. It sounds like it's a little bit more inviting than working in a parking garage.
It looks more like a lab. It looks more like a laboratory. It's also white and clean, and the lighting is amazing. But you have to coat everything. We have a very incredible ventilation system to be able to clear out all of that off gassing that comes with hot tubs. So it's not harsh at all smelling down there. It's great. And because we've had to coat everything, that's why it's so bright looking. But you have to coat everything, otherwise everything would rust pretty shortly.
Your last kind of big hot tub product release was the at ease for swim spas. And at the time, it was like, it really took off for you. I remember everyone was pretty excited about it. What's that looking like now for that product? Is there still the excitement around it?
There is. It's been such an gratifying for It's our biggest launch as a company. It really speaks to the comfortability that our dealers have with that technology. Because I remember one of our top sales guys listening in. He basically I just happened to have an Addie's floater here for hot tubs. He goes, "Are you familiar with this?" And the dealers, "Yeah, I sell it all the time." Then we just have a bigger unit that you put in your swim spa. Done.
Yeah.
There's obviously some more nuances to that and stuff, but I just laughed that I guess that's how easy it is to sell. We picked up an incredible amount of market share in year one, more than we anticipated. It was a great year this year. It just continues to move on, and we're making some tweaks to it. We finally got a registration for our startup pack It'll have some chlorine in a package, which it's called Jumpstart for our At Ease product for hot tubs. It'll be called Kickstart. That's going to roll out the door, I think, next month for Swim Spa. And we're not going to raise the price at all. It's going to be part of the system, and it'll just make it work even that much better, because the use instructions before were to sell a bottle of dichlor with it. And now the system is all in one, everything you need to get your swim spa going. We're doing really well with it, and the dealers that have been using it really like it. And AC was great because I got to talk to quite a few dealers that have had really great success in it, and they've said their customers love it, and the cartridge is lasting longer than anticipated.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so that's been great. And that just speaks to just the wide range of uses to a swim spa. And whether it's 90 degrees or 104 degrees, there's just so many different ways, which was the challenge to bring a product for it to market. But so it's just been really gratifying and really great. It's unfortunate I'm hearing in the marketplace that swim spa sales aren't quite as strong for dealers as they have been over
Yeah,
the
I think
last
that's just
couple of
I think
years.
that's just hot tub sales across the board, right? I just think it was just
Mhm.
a down year for most people, not everybody, most people last year.
But I'm sure it'll come back. It's definitely not a fad. I see swim spas being around and just continuing to grow and be a bigger part of a lot of these dealer sales.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Kick It, were you guys just waiting for the EPA registration to come through on that to get it out there?
So it was either delay 1 year, not come out till 2025
Right.
with the swim spa product, or launch it before. And we weighed the pros and cons and just decided this would be the path we would run.
How long does it usually take to go through that registration process with the EPA? I'm sure sure it's not the same every time. I guess let's put it that way.
No, it's definitely not the same every time. It definitely depends on the complexity of what you're releasing. If it's a new, it's going to take you 5 to 7 years, because you're going to need tons and tons of data and testing and stuff. And that's why we're one of the only companies that's created 2 new chemistries in the last, I think it was like 20 years or something like that. But if you're doing updates and doing something that's not, Kick It is in a package, right? There's tons of different registrations for dichlor, and that's why we were surprised at how long it took. But it took about 16, 18 months to get that through. And then you have to go through state registrations, which can take 2 to 10 months to get a state
Do you have to do
registration.
one for every single state then that you're going to sell the product in?
You have to, yeah, you have to register because they want to make money too.
Oh,
You have to
sure.
pay an annual, and that's annual. It's an annual registration.
Why not? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We currently have documents that are just getting past the 3 year mark with the federal EPA right now that we've been waiting. But that really speaks to King Technology and the ownership's patience. This is why you don't see a whole lot of innovation in this industry, because as private equity takes over, they want results within 3 years. They're not going to wait 3 years just before you can take something to market. We're a legacy company. You've been a part of those discussions with the succession planning and stuff. Our thinking is 100 years out. And that comes down from Joe and Alex and Carson are obviously, that's what they're looking to do. And then our new CEO, Mike Knorr, he talks about that almost every town hall that we have as a company talks about what we're building.
Yeah, so it's not really, I don't know, exciting and sexy to talk about EPA registration, but I do feel like if people really understood like what that actually looks like as far as like you said, like the time commitment and the financial commitment, it's a really important story to tell our industry and tell our consumer like how important that actually is. And then when you do look around the marketplace and you see how few people actually go through that and the products that end up being sold to the end user, it's a real differentiator and not a little thing by any means. And it does say a lot, like you said, about King and about the other companies that actually go through that process and their commitment to safety, their commitment to the end user, and their commitment to the industry in general, as far as we're gonna do the right thing and take care of everybody in this chain.
Yeah, we have those debates all the time. I'm probably on the wrong side of those debates where I want to get out to market faster. But we have wonderfully high integrity people all across the company. I'd like to think I would in there too, but
Yeah, because the thing is, like, there are ways around that, right? There are ways
absolutely.
around that with how you market a product and how and what you can and can't say about it in terms of the registration. So you could skirt this and still sell the same product and it can do the same things. Yeah, like you said, it's an integrity thing and a commitment to doing the things the right way. And that,
And
yeah,
that's literally where our leadership and the King family, they will slow me down and go, or just they'll go, we're here for the long run. Let's do it the right way.
but I'm with you though. When you're excited about something and you've been working on something and you've got it, you have got it ready. I can imagine like just the frustration of then being stuck in government bureaucracy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be really frustrating for
It's
sure.
also, I feel bad for our sales reps and our sales managers too, because I feel I only get in front of them 3, 4 times a year at these shows, right? And they always come to us with great ideas or things they want us to look into and stuff.
Absolutely.
And I have to bite my tongue all the time because a lot of times we're already working on something, or it's you're not gonna like my answer. I could absolutely do that, but we're 3 to 4 years away from getting that out to market.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why these conversations are so good to have because I think that I don't think people really understand what real product development looks like sometimes. You know? And so I think when you're the end user or when you're like the retailer selling it or the salesperson selling it to the retailer, it's like you just don't understand like how long these things sometimes really take to get them dialed in and do it the right way and follow all the steps. Like I just it's good to talk about it because like people don't understand like what does that actually look like? We can't just turn around tomorrow and say, okay, we've made this small change to the housing and we're good to go. Like it's done deal.
OEMs are starting to get it. I have some really fun conversations now with our engineering partners and marketing partners over in the OEMs because they call me up and they'll be like, Alex, we're making a change to this series or this model. Can you update your packaging? And they've finally, or they're realizing any change we make, even to the outside the box, any change that the consumer sees, we now got to resubmit to all the states. And I'm like, absolutely. When is this going to happen? Because California right now is taking 10 months to approve or to register any changes. And they're
Exactly.
like, there, it used to be where they'd call me up a month before they were going out to market. Now they're, bringing us in and going, all right, we're about a year, 2 years away. This is what we're thinking. What do you think? How long do you need to make these changes and stuff? Even a branding change. You change your logo and we have it on our product. Now we got to resubmit again.
That's amazing. That's just, yeah, I would have no idea. I had no idea that is the extent to which you have to go through stuff to do any changes.
And that's why we have an entire team. We
I was
have,
gonna say, I'm sure you have basically an EPA registration department, and that is like all they have to do because that sounds like it's a lot. It's not even
yep.
like you said, you have partners that put this in their hot tubs. So it's not just, yeah, it's not just what you guys are doing. It's across the board what everybody is doing. That's crazy.
We have so much incredible knowledge in our regulatory team, we call them. And this is what they do is they're the checks and balances. They're the ones we have in every project meeting, making sure that we are following the letter of the law. Basically, these documents. I actually just happen to have my EPA registration for our algicides right here. I think it's like 36. It's 20 pages long here, 20 pages just for our algicide, right? Because I'm constantly double checking. Can I say this? Can I say that?
It's true. And you know what? We have to be really careful when we're doing that as well. Like when we're writing articles, depending on whether a product is registered or not, we have to be really careful what we say in our articles too. And so that's something that we also have to pay really close attention to because it's we wouldn't get in trouble, but the company could get in trouble if we say something that they can't actually claim because yeah, it's a whole deal. And yeah, I feel like I know more about it than I want to.
Some people love it, not me, but some people really enjoy it
But
here.
we need those people. We need those
We
people who love making like checking the wording to make sure it's the letter of the law. We need them in our lives.
are
Really good
crucial team members.
at
They
it.
are
100%.
definitely crucial team members.
You know what? So we had you on to talk about the Addies for swim spas in the past, but I don't think we actually talked about Smart Chlor and what it actually is because it has been out there in your other at ease product for hot tubs. And so we don't really go into that and like what makes that different and how it works with the frog minerals. But I feel like we probably should talk about that. If anything else, I definitely probably could use a refresher.
Again, I'm not a chemist. This was one of the things I talked about when I first was interviewing here. I'm like, I am not a chemist. And they said, don't worry, we have
Give
very
yourself a couple
talented.
months.
Yeah, yeah. But it's such an incredible technology. It's closer to bromine than it is in dichlor in its material makeup. And that's why it dissolves slower in hot water. So just some key high level points here. One of the reasons why we have to pair it with minerals is it's self-regulating. It only regulates itself up to about 1.5 ppm of free chlorine. And so our registration is that you have to use it with our EPA registered silver, which is a bactericide, and that kills half the bacteria, and then the chlorine kills the other half and gives you safe water to be able to both swim or be soaking in. But there's so many benefits, other benefits to the Smart Chlor. It has next to no off gassing, which allowed us to create this frog recycling program, which I'd love to talk to you about in the future here. But the lack of off gassing is what in the swim spa especially, you open up that swim spa and you're not hit with any of that chlorine smell. And I just talk about the swim spa because it's a bigger body of water. And I did a lot of testing with dichlor and trichlor in there. And oh my gosh, you had so much gases that would hit you. And it's a taller one. So it's right at your head, whereas a hot tub is lower down. But even in the hot tubs and stuff, so much less off gassing. You can sit in it and you don't have that smell. And it almost feels like with that off gassing, sometimes it's drying out your face a little bit and stuff. That was we didn't even really realize all the benefits to that off gassing that you really have. And then, of course, having something that will last that long, 3 to 4 weeks, it's just, there's nothing else like it in the industry.
Yeah, I feel like that can't be understated because yeah, like consumers want to touch that as little as possible. And yeah, stretching that out for a longer period of time, practice use is a huge deal for sure.
And anytime you can cut down on the amount of chemicals that you're putting in by only needing half to 1 ppm of that free chlorine, that's what gives you that softer water. You're not going to have fading of your swimsuits and stuff, which I didn't realize how expensive female swimsuits were before I started here, which was a
Oh yeah,
weird thing to find out.
surprise. Surprise. Yep, yep. I was actually shopping for one the other day and I was like, "Oh, I love this." And I was like, $300, no big deal."
I
Yeah,
was like, whoa, okay.
yeah.
My wife was telling me all about this, how that's a real deal with fading of swimsuits.
Can you imagine how mad I would be if I got in a hot tub after I bought this brand new $300 swimsuit and next thing it's the black is now gray? Not so much.
Yeah, so I didn't know that they had swimsuits for hot tubs versus suits for just sunbathing. So I didn't know that was a thing. And
You
all
have
these
you
things
have
that
your
I learned
swimsuit
here.
you wear at the resort when you're out where people can see you, and then you have your swimsuit that you wear when you're actually getting in the ocean, and then you got the one for the pool, and yeah, you gotta prepare for every situation.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about that though with Smart Color because there's not going to be any fading of your swimsuit now.
That is also a real benefit that cannot be understated.
Yeah.
You also released a lot of products this year, but these were more on the pool side. So you came out with a whole line of algae products that, yeah, that aren't for our hot tub folks, but I feel like for some of them, they're probably selling these in their store anyway, if they do anything on the pool side of the business.
Yeah. So first off, we came up with a new technology that we're calling, pod technology. Everything is filled inside inside these pods. But yeah, we haven't released a product in pool for 14 years. We've been so focused on the hot tub for so long.
Ah,
Years ago, we were a pool company and we had a little bit of hot tub business. Right now, we're known as a hot tub company with a little bit of pool business because we haven't, been all that relevant from an innovation standpoint on the pool side for so long. And it was eye-opening to me to be able to go on the road, talk with sales reps, meet with them, and then learn that if they didn't go into a store that was selling our cycler system, and it was primarily if it wasn't an above ground dealer, then they had nothing to sell them. And that really hit home to me. I was like, geez, okay, wow, we gotta outfit your toolbox with some more tools. And so we came up with what we're calling an untethered product, meaning it's not on the service pad. We interviewed a lot of service people, we interviewed a lot of consumers, and they all want to just add chemicals to their skimmer basket. It's easy, it's simple, it's not as scary for them, and they don't want to have to measure because the backs of these bottles are very complicated. And I attended, a really large customer of ours. I attended and helped out with one of their pool opening. I spent a couple days just carrying boxes of chemicals to their customers' cars and stuff, and learning about what they do and stuff. And I had this aha moment as I'm watching them go over to the algicide wall, and the customer is explaining their problems that they've had, and the sales associate looks at this huge wall of algicides and is literally reading the backs of the bottle, going a couple bottles, trying to understand so that he can then sell this customer the right product, right? And I had this aha moment that, number one, we make it very difficult in the industry for both our sales associates and our consumers to be able to understand how to just maintenance treat a pool versus cure a pool. So we came out with two different algicides, one that's packaged just as a curative, and we call it Algae Gone, and the other one that is a maintenance product, 90-day algae barrier. And what I tell dealers who ask, do I really need to buy both? And I don't want to allocate two spots on the shelf. And I explained to them, have you looked at the backs of the bottles and tried to understand? There's terms called initial dose, maintenance dose, outbreak dose, and there'll be like multiple. For one thing, this is like size 8 font. So how many of these people can actually read them, right, without grabbing their
100%.
readers and trying to differentiate? And then they have problems where they get confused and they either overdose or they underdose. And so the other thing I explained to the dealers is, for years, I've been hearing the number one issue is a labor shortage. Now, there's only so much things that a chemical company like us can do for labor, but we identified an opportunity to make it super easy and simple for the sales associate. If I can come up with a product that takes next to no time to train a new sales associate, and especially somebody that might be seasonal, they might only be there for 60 to 90 days, that helps you on the labor side, right? If I can speed up your training and your know-how and stuff. And so we've made it very simple. Our names are so simple and so intuitive that the sales associate can look like a genius and go, I got the perfect product for you. Boom, right here. You have an algae problem, algae gone. Oh, you want to open up your pool and it's clear and you just want to keep it algae free through the hot summer months? 90-day algae barrier comes with a 90-day algae guarantee. And we just have this handy chart on the back that just tells you, do you have a 20,000 gallon pool? You'll need 2 pods. Do you have a 30,000 gallon pool? You'll need 3 pods. You just drop it in the skimmer basket. Everything will be into the water within 24 hours.
So when you talk about it them being in pods, like before I saw it, I definitely pictured like my laundry detergent pods, like these little squishy guys with this liquid inside. But that's not, these are like a fabric sort of pouch, right?
It is a kind of like a fabric pouch. That's a pretty good way to explain it. And we landed on pods because you're already familiar with it in your laundry. You're familiar with it with your dish soap. We're using pods in a lot of different other industries and stuff. So it's a familiar idea. And no, the fabric is not going to dissolve, but it's a specially designed fabric and coated so that it will be hydrophilic, which means it will allow water in and allow liquids to be released. So it's designed so that it will release the chemistry slow enough that it won't stain any surfaces, but fast enough that it gets in your water. And it usually will be empty within 3 to 4 hours if you've got your pump running and stuff. So it's really cool because an air pocket kind of forms and it will just float on the surface right above the skimmer basket. So the customer doesn't even have to go all the way in to grab the skimmer basket. They can just reach in and grab it out.
Yeah, so it's not like it's sucked in there with all the other junk.
It never gets really sucked down into there like that. So it's really cool. It gives us almost like an out indicator when it's floating like that. It's empty, but you don't have to make a special trip. You can just empty the skimmer basket out the next time you empty it and just throw the pods away. It also just gives us a fantastic sustainability story here because we're no longer shipping empty bottles from a bottle factory to our filling factory and then back, right? There's a concentrated formula. So you're 3 times less weight than a equivalent quart liquid quart. So you're tons of shipping savings, no more leaks, no more. I've seen signs at dealers that say not liable for spillage in your car or not liable for leaks, stuff like that. You don't
Uh,
have to worry about that kind
yeah.
of stuff with this.
Honestly, for retailers, you just say save on your shipping costs, and I think they're just sign me up at this point. Save on that pallet space and in the store too, right? Like something that's more compact does not take up as much space, is easier to transport. That's all a big deal.
We took so much into consideration when we looked at this, and a lot of that is because we spend time with our dealers. We spend time out in the field, and I see all these people who are the sales associates that also have to unload the truck, and I feel terrible sometimes because it might be an older lady or it's a veteran with a back problem, and I've seen all of these situations. And so when we designed this, I was really adamant. I want to do 12 packs because that's what case of bottles comes in, but it's literally 3 times lighter. So think of that case, which is about the same size as a case of bottles, but now it's super light. When we design stuff, we always try to stay under 25 pounds for a box of the product for the case, because I'm always thinking about the sales associates in the backs of these stores unloading their own trucks and restocking their shelves. And sometimes these back warehouses are so small that they have to go upstairs. They've got elevated areas for storage and stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, these are real issues, like real things that in your day-to-day running of your store can be a big issue. It's hard enough to do all the things that you need to get done in a day, and then you throw in, now I have to go carry these heavy bottles around. It's, please no.
We never go in thinking we want to be a copycat of anything. We are always looking at, can we do it better? We didn't really go, we've already been in the algaecide business for 22 years with our BAM and our all out product, but we realized there's an opportunity here to do something different, something nobody else is doing, and something way better. And we really feel we found it. And we think that there's probably greater opportunities in the future to expand this. We call it pod technology. And I just want to touch on, you were like thinking it was going to be a
Squishy dissolvable thing.
yeah, and that is one of the biggest requests we get is, can you make it dissolvable? And people have tried and failed in the past. And so we had sales reps who were really skeptical when we told them we were coming out with pod technology. They're like, oh boy, we've seen that before. That's not gonna do well and stuff. And then we explained to them what we were doing. They're like, oh yeah, that could work. And I just have a great example. My son, he's down at Grand Canyon University down in Phoenix.
That's where I went. That's where I went for undergrad.
Oh, really?
Isn't that funny?
It's
Yes. Gosh, that's amazing.
He is absolutely loving it, by the way. And now my daughter, who's a junior in high school, she's thinking that this place is amazing and wants to go now too. It's on her top of her list. So I probably will have 2 kids there within the next 2 years. But it was such a fun experience checking them in. It's 112 or 113 degrees,
Move-in
middle of
day was always
August.
the worst. Always the hottest day of the year was gonna be the move-in day every time.
But the night before, we took him to Target to go buy a whole bunch of stuff for his dorm and stuff. And going around and being this age parents we are, we're asking them about vitamins. How you doing? Have you gotten vitamins yet? So we go over to the vitamin aisle and we get to the 1-a-day teen boy vitamins, and I grab one and I'm like, that's weird. And I shook it and it won't shake. And I look underneath, it's one big melted gummy.
Gummy. Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm like, what? And I just start going through everything, the whole shelf. They're all that way. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, that's incredible.
A
And that
real thing. I have ordered gummies for my kids, and when they arrive, yes, they're just basically one mass. And I'm like, I hope I can peel off something that resembles the actual dosage that they're supposed to have of these. And that has happened to me on multiple occasions where it's just like, why? Why do I just have one clump of giant gummy?
that experience led me to say, this is what we're moving forward with longer term, because I just started imagining that type of PVC, the dissolvable the dissolvable film, it has a lot of those characteristics of that gummy products, right? And stuff. And I started thinking about where I want to go with some of these products. I want to be in buckets for service of these pods, which we are with our Algae Blocker 4 Pro now. I couldn't imagine, I just imagined if we had gone to market with a fully dissolvable pod, which we have been testing, by the way. I've been testing it for a couple of years, the shelf life and longevity and stuff. And I just imagined in these trucks in 100-degree weather in Arizona, you're just getting a big blob. Right. And our whole message is about easy. Your example of just trying to cut away or peel away something, that's not easy. And we want to be known as the company that allows you to not have to touch chemicals, that's pre-measured and pre-dosed and no mess, no guess. So I literally came back, called a meeting with our engineering team and said, I've come around on this whole dissolvable because I made some requirements for them on a different project that this next product has to have dissolvable pods and stuff. And I said, let's put a pause on this.
Yeah, what a great real world example of that's not maybe not really what we want here.
And just when we think about how people are around water, right? You get water on this stuff, just drips of water, a wet hand going into a bucket or something like that, that has negative impacts.
Retailers as well, hot tub and pool retailers, auto ship programs are becoming like a more and more important part of what they do, right? It's anytime we talk about trying to compete with the Amazons of the world and I mean, in the Targets and the Walmarts of the world. And the older I get, the more that I am willing to pay for convenience almost every time. I just do not have the time to do the extra steps. So like at this point, not only do they deliver my groceries, but they also put them away for me. Like we're talking, this is the level of, this is the help. I need help. Okay. I need help. So this is what they're doing for me. And I think it's something that pool and hot tub retailers are still just catching on to is that how much that convenience matters and how much as specialty retailers with specialty products that you can only get from them, like that is the piece that they still need to be able to offer, right? Is the convenience. It's like they've already got the better product. They've already got the exclusive product. What they're missing is that convenience piece. And so these auto ship programs are becoming more and more important for retailers to keep getting that, that regular, recurring revenue from people. And auto ship is such a great way to do that. And like, obviously, like you're not going to auto ship like a curative product for algae, but for like maybe a 90-day product, like what an easy thing to ship. And it's the same with the at ease. These are things that are like not bulky, they're not going to leak, they're not going to do all of the things that you do not want to happen when you are shipping chemicals to somebody's home. But it's such a great way to still hang on to that market share and hang on to that customer and give them what they want, which is convenience. That is what I need, everybody.
I love that. I hope you keep on pushing that. Got to give credit to Brian Wallet, our digital team, because he's helped develop that ability on our app. Dealers can sign up on the app, and if they have an auto ship program, to be able to partner through that so consumers can set up that through their app and select that store so it's coming from them. We're trying to definitely head that way, and we're making our products really easy to understand. On auto ship program, it's right in the name, 90-day, right? 90-day algicide, 90-day phos remover, 90-day clarifier. It's in the name. You know exactly how long it's going to last.
Yeah. It's something I've been talking to people about more and more just recently because it's just we're specialty retailers are fighting for every dollar. And this is just another area where you can compete and you can excel and you can provide a better experience than what they can get from any of these mass merchants.
Yeah, you're right. Unfortunately, a lot of definitely the smaller dealers are going the wrong way when it comes to being open when consumers want to buy. So many of them are only open from like 10 to 5, 10 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday. There's definitely a lack of convenience. That's not when people are using their hot tubs and pools necessarily.
So yeah, here's another way for you to be open, closer to that 24-hour mark. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely have to be available when the consumers want to buy and where they want to shop.
I mean, I'm currently having an issue with that in my own life where someone that I have to buy a product from them. There is literally nowhere else I can get it. And they are only open from 8 to 5, during the week, not even on the weekends. That is my options, 8 to 5. And it's just, I have a job. I'm sorry. When do you think I have time to run in and take care of this in the middle of my day? And it's just, what is happening? Are we in the 21st century, or what century are we in? Are we in the 21st century now? We are. Oh no, this is
Yes, still for another 75 years.
literally the dumbest thing I've ever said on the podcast. So you're welcome. Moving on from that one.
Can I put in a plug for something that we are doing for our dealers? And I don't think you probably are aware of it yet because I don't think
Yeah.
we announced it. But first time ever, May 1st, we're coming out with what we're calling At Ease Days. It's going to be a full 1 month promotion, and consumers it's only brick and mortar. You have to go into your store to make your purchase, and you'll be with a At Ease system and 3-pack kit, you'd be eligible for a $15 Visa. I think it's an e-card or something like that. So
Fantastic.
first time ever discounting something. Like I said, this is going to be only available to our dealers, and it's just an opportunity for us to say thank you for your loyalty. And we just want to do something to try to increase their door swings.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, if retailers add that to your promotional calendar coming up, here you
Mhm.
go. That's another great way to get in front of people, another fun thing that you can market to. So yeah, that's awesome.
I think April 1st on our partner site, we're going to have all the free for them to be able to request so that they can put up some signs and stuff in their stores to be able to offer this. So
That's great. I'm glad you brought that up. That is a great thing for people to hear about and get ready for. So that's fantastic. So Alex, so now we're going to have to end this podcast by talking about all the things that we have in common, which apparently is also Grand Canyon University, which who knew? And the funny thing about that is that I think I had accepted an offer to go to your alma mater in Minneapolis, to Bethel, and that is where I was going to college. And then Grand Canyon came back with this like full ride academic scholarship. And so I ended up in Arizona instead of Minnesota. So just the convergence of things here is really mind-blowing.
you probably made the right choice too.
I will say the Grand Canyon that your children or your son, at least right now, is experiencing is nothing like what I did. Because when I went there, we were in like old asbestos dorms, whereas now it is unrecognizable from when I was there, to say the least. I
Have you
probably
been on campus at all lately?
so the last time I was on campus was literally as we were moving out of, my husband and I were moving out of Phoenix, like driving away. We drove through campus on our way out of town, and it was like, this is not what I experienced, to say the least.
Like a resort, and his dorm is ridiculous.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. I'm sure that like when I was there, they built a brand new dorm. And so for a year, I got to be in the new dorm. And I'm sure that dorm is now like the old dorm. Completely different experience. But you know what? Good for him on leaving the negative temperatures and going to where it is never below 40, basically.
He likes to text me, I went golfing today. Oh, good for you.
Yep, absolutely. I remember very distinctly one Christmas I was home and I was going to get on the plane early in the morning, and it was like 40 below. It was very bitterly cold. It was one of those colds where it hurt to breathe, you know, how that it's just it was awful. And then I landed in Phoenix and it was 70 degrees and I was just like, why does anyone live there? This doesn't make any sense when you could not feel like that ever.
I brought my wife with me to Long Beach for the Western show 2 weeks ago. And yeah, we really loved the 65-degree weather there.
I know. And the funny thing is that everybody who was from California was cold and wearing like their puffer jackets and like their down coats because it got to be 60 degrees. So they were cold. Whereas you and I, when we were there, was like, this is great. They're like, oh, the weather's so bad. I'm sorry that it's just so awful. And I'm like, all right, what are you talking about? I'm fine. This is fine.
My face got sunburned on one of the days. I didn't even think about it. It was so stupid. Obviously, I should think about it. You know, this very white guy from Minnesota now, not experiencing this sun, but we had brunch on the harbor and walked all the way around the harbor, proceeded to have a late lunch on the harbor, out on the deck, on the docks there. And so we were in the sun for hours and just
Yeah.
enjoying it, just loving it, never even thinking about it.
Yep. Yep. Should have seen that one coming. Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for doing this. It was fun to catch up with you and hear everything that you guys have going on. I really liked hearing about all the improvements that you've got in your lab and all of the things that you have coming. I know you've already mentioned, like, you guys have a lot of new things that you're working on. So I'm sure you've had some new pool products come out this year, and I'm sure that there are some hot tub ones on the horizon.
Absolutely. We keep on expanding the team. So we got just a lot of incredible talent, and our ability to continue to keep growing and putting out more products just continues. So we'll have some new stuff to share hopefully pretty soon.
All right, fantastic. Thanks so much, Alex.
Thank you. This was great. Appreciate your time.
The SpaRetailer Podcast is a production of SpaRetailer Magazine. Let us know what you think by leaving a review or emailing us at podcast@sparetailer.com. Thanks for listening.